Welcome to the Run For It YouTube channel. I'm Finlay, and in this episode we are going to be talking through the brand new HOKA Speedgoat 6 trail running shoes. HOKA kindly sent us a pair to test out. We'll cover the tech updates, how they feel to run in, how they fit, and what they're best suited to. At headline, the changes are a new compression-moulded EVA foam, which is lighter and more responsive. The outsole pattern has changed. It now takes inspiration from the hoof of a goat. There are several changes to the upper. There's a new woven fabric. There's more padding on the top of the tongue. And importantly, there's a new dynamic toe vamp. But we'll now cover those tech updates in a little bit more detail and talk through what that means for you on the run. So when it comes to the midsole, yes, it feels lighter, but the main difference you're probably going to notice with the cushioning is the increase in responsiveness. Now, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Well, when it comes to the trails, it's probably a good thing. While we need the midsole to be able to adapt to uneven terrain, particularly on technical trails, the increased responsiveness makes the midsole feel very stable, so that inspires a lot of confidence underfoot. Next, you definitely get more of what you put into the midsole back out of it in the form of energy return. So when you're trying to power up an incline, it does feel easier to maintain your pace. And likewise, if you're running over looser, gravel-like surfaces, it makes it much easier to maintain your speed and pick up your pace should you need to do that. Now, the downside of this firmer feeling foam is that it potentially doesn't offer as much comfort on harder surfaces such as the roads, particularly in comparison to the previous version. And this is where the Challenger 7 offers a much softer and plusher feel than the Speedgoat. So if you are doing a lot of door-to-trail runs, or you're covering quite a lot of tarmac within your trail routes that you tend to opt for, yes, the Speedgoat 6 could be an option, but it's likely the Challenger 7 is going to be a much more comfortable option for that type of terrain. And it's worth highlighting that the cushioning does soften up slightly after you've run in them, and we need to make it very clear that this midsole offers a huge amount of protection. So if you're running long distances over technical trails, it should offer a lot of comfort and support. Now, the outsole is still made from Vibram Megagrip with Traction Lug, and as many of you know, this offers amazing traction, particularly on wet rock. It's also very durable. But as we mentioned earlier, the outsole pattern has changed, so HOKA have taken inspiration from the hoof of a goat. It's quite hard to see exactly what's different, but what I observed as being the key point of difference is actually the way the lugs are now positioned on the lateral edge of the heel, pretty much where you're going to land when you're running downhill at pace. And from testing, my main observation was that if you're planting your foot on loose rock on those descents, it just provides a little bit more purchase, a little bit more traction, and makes you feel slightly more confident on your feet on those sections of the trail. Because the lugs are 5mm in depth, you're not overly aware of them on firmer packed grounds such as dry mud and grass, which means it's going to feel comfortable over quite a wide range of surfaces. But to make it clear, the outsole really performs at its best when you're on loose, rocky, technical trails, particularly when you're going up and down them, so it makes you feel really confident on steeper slopes. It can cope with some softer ground, but nothing beats a deep 7mm lugged hill running shoe when you're on really boggy terrain, and that's potentially where the limitation of the Speedgoat is. If you're running on lots of rocky trails, you just cannot go wrong with this outsole. The most notable change in the upper is probably this new dynamic toe vamp design. It feels softer and more comfortable than the previous version. The main benefit of this unique construction on the toe box here is that it can actually expand and accommodate foot swelling, which is an amazing feature for trail runners because, as again, many of you know, particularly when you're running in ultras, foot swelling can be a very common occurrence, so that can relieve some pressure on the top of your feet. From a sizing perspective though, I would potentially recommend going up half a size in comparison to your normal running shoe size, not in comparison maybe to what you we'd normally go for in HOKA, but for example, I am usually 10.5 UK in running shoes, and I've actually been testing these in an 11.5 UK. And from going down the descents, I'm not sure I would have wanted to go any smaller than that in these. So that's a full size difference for me. So probably half a size is going to be quite a happy medium for most runners. Now, HOKA hasn't mentioned too much about this woven upper design, and my inclination is that this is going to be a lot more durable than the previous material. It feels quite similar to the Matrix upper, which features Kevlar strands, so it will be interesting to see how this wears down and if you get more miles out of the Speedgoat as a result. There is a new internal midfoot cage designed to obviously hold your foot down a little bit better, promote a bit more support there. I'll be really honest, when I was running in it, didn't really feel much of a difference there, any changes. So whether or not that was doing something to help me, I'm not sure. I can't say that for certain. But when you do compare the two shoes, you can feel the difference in structure. So some people may feel a little bit more security and support, particularly on that medial side when they're on uneven terrain. In summary then, the HOKA Speedgoat 6 are one of the best options for technical trail runs on rocky routes, particularly if you're trying to run them at a good pace. That is probably the biggest difference between the 6 and the 5, is it's very likely you're going to be able to push the pace faster, particularly on the steeper slopes. And importantly, if you have run in the Speedgoat 5, you should be able to transition into the Speedgoat 6 with ease. We should note, just to reinforce the point from earlier, if you are doing a lot of door-to-trail runs and you're covering a lot of tarmac at either the start or end of your trail runs, then you might want to look at something softer that gives you a slightly more forgiving underfoot sensation, and that's where the HOKA Challenger 7 would be great options for those types of runs. It's fair to say the competition is catching up though. For example, the Salomon Genesis arguably offers better support than the Speedgoat on technical rocky trails thanks to the active chassis support. The NNormal Tomir 2.0 also features a supercritical foam in the midsole, so the midsole does feel much more cushioned and energetic than the Speedgoat cushioning. Having said that though, our conclusion is that the Speedgoat 6 are still the benchmark for all the models within this category. And that brings me to the end of this review. Thank you very much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. If you have any questions at all, please put them in the comments below and we'll do our best to get back to them as quickly as possible. See you soon.